Please stand for the pledge.
The pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Here.
Marner?
Here.
Hewitt? Here. Wendell? Hoover?
Here.
Trudeau? Here. Beatty?
Here.
All present.
Thank you. For my statement, I would like to congratulate Tom on getting us nearly $1 million for our MERS retirement fund. That brings us to 60% funded. I mean, we've been battling this for decades. This is whenever it went in, and finally we're, I wouldn't say in the green, but we're not in the red. So that's great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, thank you.
Moving on, and he'll be talking more about that at the end of the meeting. We need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Support. Motion's been made and supported. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public statement regarding current agenda items only. Consent agenda.
So moved.
Support. Motion's been made and supported to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on into new business, items for action. Carrie Hall requesting to use Cole Park for a wedding on September 16th.
Carrie is here.
Hi.
Hello.
We were wondering if we could have our ceremony down here at the park. We're not gonna have any food, beverages. We're gonna do bubbles instead of dropping the petals. And as soon as the ceremony's over, we'll do some pictures on the bridge around the water and we'll be gone.
And I did tell him that obviously I can't kick anybody out of the
Oh,
park.
yeah,
And it would just be in and out, you know, it wouldn't be a ceremony, the reception's not there, like you said, so.
yeah.
We're good with that.
I make a motion to approve Carrie Hall's request for Cole Park for a wedding on September 16th.
Support. Motion's been made and supported. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
My daughter had hers there.
Yeah,
It's nice.
it's so beautiful. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Next up is approval of the Metro Act application for Daystar Communications to run or expand the fiber network in town.
The Metro Act is something the state created to allow companies to come in and get right-of-way access for faster internet connections and speeds. Daystar out of Owasso wants to update some existing lines that Brightspeed owns, and then eventually in the future maybe reach out to businesses in town to give them a fiber option. But currently it's just to upgrade some lines that Brightspeed already has.
Do you know which lines? Is it the ones that feed the school?
It is not. It's around Memorial Healthcare, that building.
Okay.
But they have to apply for a Metro Act permit, which they did, and they sent us the application fee, $500. And then we just have to approve it as a council. We're gonna allow them to do that work. And I told them if they wanna do more in the future, like expand to businesses, we'd have to come back and talk about what they wanna do.
That would be awesome.
Is it gonna be, for everyone or just the businesses? Or will residents be able to hook up to it also?
Eventually, they said businesses, potentially residents. Currently, it'll just be upgrading the lines that are already there. So this is a very early stage in this.
Gotcha. Who uses the lines currently, just Memorial?
I think it's just Memorial, yeah.
Probably have point-to-point connection with the hospital.
Alright, I make a motion to approve the Metro Act application for Daystar Communication to upgrade Brightspeed's current fiber lines.
Support. Motion's been made and supported. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up, committee reports, infrastructure.
We met last week. Yeah. Sidewalk projects are getting ready to get started. There's been some tree issues that have been labeled, so Nick has been walking around with Thurston's. And there's a couple areas that are gonna get a little bit of a bigger overhaul, so we're concentrating resources on making sure the watershed is good, and we're not gonna complicate homeowners by upgrading the sidewalks. Thurston's is still in the process of bidding the trees. We already know we're not going to be able to do them all, so we're just trying to work with the corridors that make the most sense. And then, of course, the areas as well that don't have trees involved. The bid moved up to roughly 51,000, but we're still okay as far as budget goes. And then we're still, like I said, we're waiting for the tree budget to come through, or the tree quote to come through to decide for sure. But Pearl and Line is considered a priority, and there's a couple spots on South Street that we're looking at for sure doing. Front Street is considered open and complete. We haven't had the wrap-up meeting yet. But as of right now, the only thing that I didn't check on, did they do the patch yet?
I don't know, I didn't get a chance to look at it.
I didn't either.
Yes, they did.
They
Okay. So then, next to the water main patch, I think it was supposed to be like a 20-foot patch they were gonna put in the asphalt and get those couple cracks filled and taken care of, so. That's been done, Front Street's good, so the sidewalk should be the last construction project that I'm aware of for the year, so. And Nick's chomping to get started, he's ready to go, so.
Great.
That's it.
Thank you. Finance and admin? No. Public safety, DDA?
Next meeting is August 9th.
Chamber will be meeting later this month. Planning Commission?
We just went over the master plan.
Master plan review.
We're in the long process of updating the master plan, so.
Couple of years, how that went.
Our goal is to have it done by December, so.
Oh, good luck.
15 pages of meeting, that's.
Airport? Nope. Fire board?
We had 10 residents last meeting, bringing up to 116. We did have a federal last weekend, first one in a long time. I think that out of those 10, there's been 4 that has been accidents with cars and everything. The one that was on last Thursday on 57 Rockwell, Scott said he couldn't believe that those guys walked out on that with his head on. That guy was passing somebody that had a 16-year-old head on.
Girl guy.
No, that's the one on Johnstone Road. Sunday, Tri-Township and us, we had some of the new guys and some of the older guys meet over here at the station to do pump testing and learn how to run the pump. Because the pump operator is the main guy that controls the operation. They don't have water inside their house, you got some dead firemen. So they went through the training on the pumps and everything else and get people trained on it. More to refresh their mind. The roofer started last week. They got the east side done today. I'm going to start the west side tomorrow. Scott said that the siding will be done next week on the end and on the west side where the hail hit that. And it's supposed to be wrapped up by the end of August. So with the weather holding, we're ahead of time right now. And Lippard is doing the garage door windows for us. I contacted Altoma and they got 4 of them done in one door, but we're waiting for them to get done with the roof mesh and nothing drops on these guys. So probably about the first week of September we're going to get the garage doors windows done. So, and then August 6th and 7th we're going to have LZ training. That's where the helicopters come in and guys are going to learn how to do the landing zones for them and everything.
Where are they doing that?
We don't know yet. We won't know till the end of the week because Flight Net's no longer, so they're trying to get another helicopter to come in. Whole gas starts up the 17th to the 20th, and we got guys at the fairgrounds for the events and the abstractor do all those weekends. And the next fire board meeting is next Wednesday at 6 o'clock.
You? Task force?
Yep, we met last Tuesday. The library their summer reading program is ending. The DEA is working on their bike racks, flowers, and the benches still. So, they're in place. Saginaw Agriculture, the fair is starting today. Education, they're just going through some renovations right now. The township, is there river cleanup, I think this weekend? Last weekend, okay, last weekend. And they're working on getting some parking down there at, maybe purchasing some land down there for parking at Parkenburg. And, Friends of the Shiawassee, they're just their river cleanup. That's about it.
Well, the one thing too is that the water level monitor has been at Chi-Town, and that's working, and ours is supposed to be coming in sometime, we don't know when, for this area here, so that's gonna be for that Parkenburg. So, yeah, I know.
Good tell, Mark. Alright, Parks Committee,
Good meeting.
moving on into public statement, any topic, limited to 3 minutes, not interpreted as a use English like dialogue. Fran, you take over. Jasmine Word?
I just have a question to the sidewalk situation. You're talking about trees. Are they going to be removed?
Yes, there are some trees that are basically causing the sidewalks to hill to move. So the trees will be removed with the current plan that we have in place to replant. We have absolutely possible replanting safer, more friendly trees for the future. So yes, for everyone that goes out, the continued plan is to put one back.
Is it? Commissioner?
Question, curious about the property owners of, Lancefield School and the Heritage House. Any communication with those people as to what their intentions are or anything? Because I don't even know who owns them. And then the second thing is, what is the situation with the light pole that's on the?
I finally found a replacement. I
Was it
didn't think it
rolled or
would,
here or?
somebody hit it. I didn't think it would take 4 months, so I left it there. It'll be gone soon. I had to get one made. It cost $17,000. Or $16,900. We didn't pay that.
The insurance company did.
So it's been quite a process. I think it's going to be done. The one laying down will be done this week, and then in 6 to 8 weeks we'll have that new one. Hopefully. I just didn't think to remove it because I didn't think it would take this long, and it has.
So they have to mine the ore.
They have to mold it, cast iron. I don't know.
They do work and something like that. It has to be made. Nobody has to have it made. Yeah.
Line trees, whole pile on their own there. Yeah. Feel free to harass.
I'm sorry.
What did you say? And the guy, what, out of Maryland?
Yeah,
Who owns the Heritage House? We haven't heard really nothing from him lately, have we?
No.
He doesn't call unless the lawyer calls him.
Yeah.
But I did ask that they mow their lawn, so hopefully they do that.
And we went.
And we do that.
Alright, Carrie Ann and Jesse Wright?
They just.
Larry Jurstick?
Right here. Can I sit, please?
Sure.
I'm asking for a trial period to let quads back on the street. Now, they ain't no dangerous than any other vehicle in this world. Just today, 10 people damaged in New York with a car. July the 8th, I just totaled that one out, mine on the curb here. So a vehicle is no different than the person that runs it. And that's all I'm asking is for a trial period. Because I do have a people mover that I bought from the village and refurbishing to ride my grandkids around down in the park.
We can absolutely start looking into that, yes. You said a quad, like
Yeah, a regular quad. And I'm not a crazy man on
I
it.
don't think you're crazy.
I have babied that thing.
I believe, Tommy, some of the issue was there's a difference in the wording and things like that when it comes to our overloading wasn't the same.
They did back, what, 2012, that all off-road vehicles in the village, as long as you didn't run it down 57.
It's always been side by side.
Side by, yeah, not four wheelers.
The way the ordinance is written, the enabling ordinance from the state, we took that and then applied it for side by sides only, meaning two people sit next to each other. That was pretty much the extent of the ordinance.
Okay,
So if we
but
did quads, well,
there's also been accidents around here in the Pearl Field over in Elby Township on a side-by-side.
oh yeah, side by sides are.
So they're no more dangerous than a quad.
What are the state laws on the four-wheelers on road, guys?
It's up to the
You know,
municipality.
is it?
I mean,
Okay.
it's the same as side by sides. They put the enabling ordinance in, because up in the UP, you can ride the whole upper peninsula pretty much on a quad, so.
Do you have to get a different state thing for that, or our ORV is considered the same with ATV?
It's the same, yeah.
Same with that.
The difference is, we took the enabling law from the state, which allows those vehicles, and tweaked it, so only side by sides, with the intent being golf carts. But obviously, side by sides fall under that same category. We can send it to, finance and admin and have them talk about it. That work?
I guess.
Well, it's better than saying no,
True, that's true.
like we said last time.
I know.
Doesn't hurt to review it.
Nope.
I agree.
Is that it, Larry?
Huh?
Is that it? Thank you.
Oh, one question. The trees that are being replanted alongside these streets. You cut down 7 maple trees on Woodward Street and planted 7 more maple trees right back under the wires.
It'll be a long time before they get there.
They're already there.
Well,
In 5 years, they're already there.
I had several on Front Street and mine were huge and they only brought them down. I actually asked for one of
Why
them to be
didn't you
done a
ask
long
the
time ago,
person
but
that owned the property to put them on their property instead of under the wires?
well, cause we are putting them in the right of way. It's not the homeowner's responsibility.
Makes sense to me, but
All right, moving on. Council member statements. Any council member wish to make a statement?
Yeah, I was contacted today by a couple people about the meters. How come we haven't done anything with the meters? And I told them that we just had Muckluff comes in there and did the water testing and all that, and I said, it should be going within the next, couple months? Get some of the meters starting in.
We're trying to start scheduling stuff.
I already got mine.
We've already had dinners, yeah.
The other question was about the police department garage. The money was set aside for it, why hasn't the police department garage been built? And I said it was because the price of lumber went up at that one time.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out a way that we can do it maybe in parts. So put the frame up, put the concrete down, next year maybe run the electrical, try to piece it in there, because there's no way we can do it.
The amount of money that was budgeted does not cover what the garage.
That's why I said a lot of it is in the budget right now.
I think fit to finish, it's probably gonna be close to $1,500, $150,000.
Yeah, they put 80,000 aside, it's just not enough, so we're trying to figure that
The
out.
other thing was, they wanted to know about the dog park. And I said there was, because of the construction equipment there and everything else, I says, as far as I remember, we did have somebody who was gonna put a fence in for us.
It was all before Mike, and then that was.
No, we
before-
didn't. He wanted us to put the fence in, and that was where the sticking point came in.
I got somebody to agree to put the fence in, but the way they had purchased fencing was as if it was going to attach to the fence, the side of Oak Park that goes directly against the border of somebody's yard. And I believe they were then told no, that was not what had been agreed upon, and that they probably need more fencing because of the way they had planned that out themselves. So that it wouldn't butt right up against the property line.
Which
move it the other way and put it towards the east fence where the amphitheater is?
It's possible. They were just told that it needed to go back to the drawing board.
Sure.
So there is fencing, it's sitting somewhere. I
So
got
the
somebody to
DPW
volunteer
garage
to
and they're
put it
over
in and
over
do
there.
the work, but it just has to be revamped and agreed upon where it's going to be.
And, you know, another thing was, is that there was some golf carts parked on the main street the other day.
One's me.
Not yours.
I take full responsibility.
Not yours.
The other one came in right behind you.
There's 3 of them up there, they said, and I seen 2 of them. But by rights, they're not even supposed to be on Broad Street out here.
Nope.
So, we have to start issuing tickets.
Alright, on a positive note, the day one Haley Rose was sitting right beside her night, so. The CrossFit games in Wisconsin.
No.
Trying to watch, but it's a miserable setup by their cameras. Gotta wait for her mom to live stream. Works better.
I hope she does well.
Did we, I know we talked about this before, back a few months ago, about implementing new procedures and hiring, like, when we were going through the hiring of the new admin. We were gonna put something in the books with HR.
I believe, finance and admin is working on that.
Are they working on it, or?
I believe so.
Okay.
You're talking for recruitment and hiring of, admin.
I know that they're building a, description. I don't know that we have a hiring process.
We don't.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're gonna try to get in.
After we establish the job duties.
And other duties as assigned.
Yes. Always, other duties as assigned.
Which is
With a
90%
smile.
of the job.
With a smile.
Anybody else?
Positive note, the fair started this morning and went great, so.
Cool.
It was out, they did, open ceremony, Tom was out there. Yeah, it was great, it was nice, very nice.
Are you gonna do fireworks every night?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why the fire department's gonna be out there too.
Yeah. Well, at least we've gotten some rain recently.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, moving on, village staff reports, interim administrator report.
You just touched on it at the beginning. In April, I applied for a grant that was for municipal pensions that are severely underfunded. We fall into that category, unfortunately. But on late Friday, I was notified that we were awarded $922,155 for that pension. So that gets us to I think it's like 59%. But by the end of the year, we'll be at 60%. So that was great news.
Did you mention this was your first?
I'm 1 for 1 on grants.
This was his first, this was his first,
Yeah.
and this is pretty substantial.
Yeah, it was nice to see. Keith had mentioned that Haley Rolfe is kicking butt at the Snow Bowl CrossFit Games in Madison. She won the Olympic lifting competition today.
I got to see that.
And if you read it in the paper, saw it on the news, she's from Chesapeake. Her dad Chuck does a lot of work with the village. He texted me and said she's doing great, so root her on. Fair's going on, so please go to that. MDOT is working on the M57 corridor, if you guys haven't noticed.
Yeah,
Notice.
that was another thing too that was brought up too. MDOT never contacted us for shutting it down. And no detour signs was put up for.
They do not, they just do it.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah, Scott had a little meeting with one of the guys up there today.
Sorry, nobody needs to go to Owasso.
Front Street's open.
Yeah.
You're still cut off when you get to 52.
Yeah, but if you head on up the Niver Road, make a left on Niver Road,
yeah,
it'll take you right into Croy Road.
And that's it from
Yeah,
there.
line P.
I have no idea. I boycotted Owasso, so I don't care.
Anybody have anything under the marijuana work session?
Just an update, so last meeting, Keith had talked about finding some ordinances for the multiple caregivers growing under one household or an abandoned house. Rod has been helping me, he's been very good at helping me make phone calls. And currently I'm working with a couple law enforcement officers in some different levels to try to make sure everything's above board to find out kind of what's legit and what's not before we kind of go forward. Currently, I'm still leaning toward the only way to potentially head it off would be doing something with utility watching, like a consumers, and putting in some sort of checklist through like Rob Keyhole or the ordinance officer, something. So that's the direction I'm kind of exploring, but
I don't know if we can get that data from consumers, though, that'll be the trick.
well, it doesn't consumers, so like if someone applies for a 600 amp service, doesn't consumers have to be on site?
Oh, they will be, but they may not tell us about it, that's the issue.
Well,
we can watch water utilization.
So, yeah, these are, like I said, these are things I'm exploring avenues, I'm just trying to find out what's real, what's not, to see if there's anything possible to do for that type of thing.
Run 600 amps into a house, that's a lot.
I do have a son-in-law that works for consumers that does go out and look for cheaters.
Oh, yeah.
So he knows that they're gonna be using more amps than they're supposed to.
Yep, so it's still exploratory, but that's kind of the utilities kind of the angle, because it's really all I'm finding at the moment, so.
Okay. Okay. How would you enforce it though?
The goal of enforcing would be hopefully the homeowner has to pull a permit, which means the village then knows that they're trying to go over a 200 amp service, because most households should never go over 200 amps.
I agree.
Do you really?
Newer houses usually have more.
So, okay, then whatever agreed upon number would be egregious, but in theory, the permit would be pulled with the village, which then would say, okay, now we send Rob and or the ordinance officer out there to just do a site inspection. I mean, I'm not trying to be invasive, I'm not really trying to be anything hard, but at least to do a site inspection just to verify safety for both the homeowner, the neighbors, just to make sure they're not gonna burn the place down, stuff like that. And then, but that's what would trigger it, and hopefully would be that the permit would have to be pulled, or mandating the permit be pulled from the contractor. So that's that's the goal of enforcing it, or trying to enforce the ordinance.
Scott's got a program going right now, that anybody that knows there's a big place like the one out on 57, they got robbed out there and then beat up and all that. That house was on our list too now. We got like 5 of them right now that's outside the village that we know that's big marijuana places and that. So we know that if we go there, we have to look for it. And that's one of the main things, because one of the guys worked for Airgas, he puts in the O2 systems and CO2 systems. He says that there's a big one, this one in Duran, there's a big one going in Corona, and they have to have the permits to do all this stuff, and that's why he knows all this stuff about it. So he's gonna let Scott know if there's anything in this area that does that, so we can put it on our list. So, and right now we counted, there's even way, Farmer Pete's and that, there's like 11 in town here. Grow operations that we know of, so.
Yeah, that you know of.
Yeah, so.
But I thought the purpose of the thing is to make sure that they're living in the dwelling.
Right.
Same thing, if Rob shows up and the house looks empty, he would then have the right to refuse the permit or the upgrade. That's the point of the inspection, because if anybody who's going to do something nefarious, more than likely, if you're gonna make them pull the permit for a site inspection, they're not gonna go through. I mean, if you're doing something illegal, if you're caught from an inspection, there's a good chance you're probably going to bail. But I'm also looking to see if we can't maybe catch a meth lab, or if there's something else with meth or other drugs that if we can incorporate. I'm not trying to target just pot. I mean, the whole purpose would be to see if there's a telltale sign for just nefarious activity that maybe we could try to head off or inject to solve. But yeah, that would be the whole purpose. By hopefully getting someone as a site inspection, you catch it, and then they would just bail from the opportunity. That's kind of the concept. But again, that's why I said it's very early stages of exploring.
I understand where you're going at, but what's to say you're gonna get the permit, you're gonna get a permit, you're gonna sit there, you're gonna get a pass, and they leave, they're growing and they leave.
Oh, and here's the there's no foolproof answer to this. There just
That's what I'm
is.
saying, how would you enforce that? I mean,
That's
I was gonna say, I feel like there's some legality issues involved in all of this.
the Supreme Court actually has a case that's already been put through that you can even charge and permit medical caregivers now. The township ordinance actually is fully 100% legal on the Supreme Court ruling. They have really loosened the grips as far as municipality laws go and protection for these people. I couldn't believe I read that, because I was trying to figure out how the township wasn't going to get taken to task over their ordinance. The Supreme Court already put it through. As long as it's considered a reasonable fee, they can actually permit a caregiver.
Sure, but I feel like as you're stating with the nefarious things, I mean, it almost feels like crossing the line of law enforcement.
That's why I'm asking law enforcement.
But under municipality guidelines.
That's why I'm involving law enforcement officers from different state levels and local levels to find out what the actual abilities are for. Again, that's why I said earlier, this all could be just a pipe dream, and I could find out that it's completely bogus. That's why I'm reaching out to law enforcement and different agencies to figure it out.
I think Pete would be your better person to reach out to find out what, I mean, I don't want you to get 2 months into this and find out through Pete that, no, this isn't something that you can do.
And we could, I mean, Tom could, I mean, I don't have any way to contact Pete, so I mean, that wouldn't be hard if someone could send an email.
I'll give you some.
The other way to do it, I mean, illegal activity is illegal activity. If there's reasonable suspicion and they get a warrant, then they can enter the house.
Yep.
And growing marijuana over the amount allotted by the state or growing without permits is definitely illegal. The trick is getting that suspicion.
Yeah, because like I said, all we're doing is just simply, if a normal household, even if we call the normal household now a 300 amp service, no normal household should be over that. So just putting in a permit, requiring a permit to be pulled for 301 amps, I'm not breaking any laws, I'm not hurting anybody's liberties. It's just like getting a building permit. And Rob goes and inspects other buildings with the building permit, be no different, it's just an electrical permit.
Sure.
Right.
I mean, I'm not infringing on rights at that point.
Maybe needs to be a permitted thing anyway, because if you're upping the service, you're probably also replacing the main panels, which
Agreed.
is the fire point.
And like I said, if you're doing nothing wrong, the permits are relatively cheap.
If you're upgrading your EV vehicles, charging stations at their house too, that's gonna be up a little bit.
But you're installing the actual
It's not
charging
guaranteed that
infrastructure.
What is it? Okay, so we're talking pass now. What if you applied for a permit that already, they wanted to up the average on it, and doesn't Robin require to go out there and check it out as we speak now?
I'm not certain. I don't know if it covers just electrical or if you can only get the permit when you're building stuff. Probably. Yeah, I doubt it's required for
the code inspector to go out, and you'd have to have probably electrical inspector.
Right, I would think so.
Is it?
But it may not be required right now, just for like if they were to, let's say they were adding on to the house, putting a new room on, that's definitely required.
Okay.
Decks, porches, sometimes depends on the size, the elevation, all that stuff. And I don't know about electrical, just electrical. But I'm not talking about adding an outlet. It's, redoing the whole panel and upping the service.
We added a backup generator, which forced us to have to upgrade our panel, and then we had to have an electrical permit and inspection.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And I know for those too, consumers will double check it because they don't want you backfeeding into the grid. Consumers might be another.
Yeah, that's why I said I'm just exploring. I mean, I'm happy to reach out to Pete. I have no problem with that. I can tell you it's early. I'm just waiting for more people to give me legalities and different angles.
It's going to be
Well,
really
he may have already had a municipality that has done something similar to this and give you and help you, guide you in the direction that you need to go.
Agreed. That's
versus you just reaching for straws and calling
and like I said, I just didn't have I don't have any contacts, so like I said,
Right.
Absolutely, I will see if he can assist. So.
Sure.
I have a feeling a lot of the laws are put into place so that you don't go looking for them, but if you find somebody that's violating it, then you have to stop it.
I talked to a state officer who's been fully told to ignore pot smells, everything. If you find it, great, then they deal with it, but yeah, they're just not, it's not a priority. And so.
Looking at it, I could have swore I seen something with Flushing or somebody that had that on the books. About not living in the dwelling.
Well,
Yeah,
you
Flushing's got it.
Is it
Yeah.
Flushing?
because when you and I talked, I know I read this, I mean, I'm not pulling this out of nowhere, most of this I'm
No, I
getting
know I read it
from
somewhere
memory.
too, so.
And so that's why when you and I talked that Friday or Wednesday, whatever it was, and then that's why you reached out to Joe and he's like, nope, that's not me. I'm like, okay, so it wasn't Joe, so it was somebody else I got it from. So,
It's gonna be a hard one.
it is, and then it might just end up being that there's nothing. I mean, the answer could just simply be there's nothing we can do to prevent. Like I said, I mean, between Pete now and some law enforcement, that's my best angle to get.
Well, let's say somebody's doing it, they're licensed, right? So they're legally growing it, so that takes away the ability to stop it on a legal basis. If they're using a house to profit, that's a zoning violation. Most likely.
The main issue that this started from would be two caregivers joining their plants together and growing in one house and not living there. Using it just as an indoor grow, and then they're combining efforts and putting 150 plants in.
Then it becomes a business, so it's no longer a residence, which is a zoning violation.
But if it's just a household, you have no
You don't
legal
have
rights to enter. Yeah,
Correct.
there's no way to. So that's where, like, putting in, because you can't grow 100 plants under just a two. I mean, maybe you can, and I don't know this, but I can't believe you could grow 100 plants under a 200 amp service. I would believe you would have to upgrade more juice. And again, maybe I'm wrong, but that's where I'm asking questions and just trying to learn along the way.
You run a lot of LED panels on 200 amps.
And fans, I mean, the in-home operations are nothing like facility operations. Now, the bigger ones probably are, but if you walk into a 72 plant caregiver grow, it doesn't look anything like Highlight.
100%, I completely agree. But if you're putting 150 plants in there, then there's no couch, there's just no way you're living in there. Yeah, I mean, Highlight doesn't put 100, well, they might have 150 plants in one room, but again, there's just not a lot of room to actually cohabit the house at that point.
It'll be interesting to see. I struggle with any reason for somebody to enter a house when they're gonna have to have a warrant. I mean, that's the law.
Yep.
Unless there's a clear and present danger.
And that's, again, the tightrope I'm trying to walk, because I don't want anybody to feel targeted, I don't want anybody to feel like they're being infringed, that's not the purpose. So it's trying to make sure it's kind of a broader scale to make sure we're just encompassing the important factors, and not try to, and the people that are doing it correctly, I don't want them to be interrupted, that's not the purpose or the goal. Those that are on the up and up, I want to be left alone. So.
Is this something that law enforcement would enforce for us?
Yep.
Based off of what you said, with if you smell marijuana, don't do anything about it.
Oh, I'm not going after smell anyway.
No, but you said the state pot was instructed to not worry about it.
Correct. Now, yes, but if we put the ordinance in, yes, I do have agreement that yes, they would watch it, they would give them the ability then to interject. But the whole purpose again is to get Rob and the code officer out there to just stop it from growing. I don't know if we can go back in time and catch somebody that's already established. The purpose of the ordinance would be to head it off from the future. So if someone wants to put a whole block of grow houses in Chesaning illegally, it would be to stem that from happening and further developing versus going back. And then, like I said, I've asked about meth labs. Is there waters or powers or something that they use in abundance that maybe they could be put into that ordinance that would flag that sort of activity? Because like I said, I'm not just targeting. If we're going to go through the effort, we might as well make it as big of a legal net as we can and the abilities we can.
Well, if they're making that, that's covered under many, many laws. But no, to answer you, I don't really know how to make meth, but.
Yeah, like I said, I'm
I don't
starting
think
with.
it's hard based on the people that make it,
Well,
right?
agreed, well, no, agreed.
It's not recycled grocery bags.
Right, I mean, I don't, based on busts that I've seen, it doesn't appear to be a difficult thing.
No, just take all the most toxic stuff you can find, mix it together.
Pretty much. Yep.
And I don't know, even if they use electricity.
Nope, again, that's why I just asked questions to someone who might have some information.
The only electricity they use is when they cook it.
I was under the impression they used gas to cook it, but that's just my thought, because it got hotter. Right. Which is why, one of the reasons it becomes so diffused, because it burns so hot.
Well, the fumes are flammable.
Watch Breaking Bad.
I've never watched Breaking Bad. I've never even watched it.
Nope, and I haven't either. No, again, but that's why I ask questions to people that hopefully know more than I do to educate myself. Because like I said, this could turn into, sorry, there's just nothing to do, or here's an angle, or here's plan B. Just ask the questions until I can get some sort of knowledge on it, I guess.
Well, and realistically, the only way they're making money is shipping it out of state.
Oh, agreed.
Because the price is so low here, it's really hard to make a buck. Unless you're selling it illegally out of state.
And that might even be part of what's gonna solve the problem. I mean, the fact that there is no real market for it in Michigan anymore anyway, that might,
Legal market.
or yeah, but that might solve the problem anyway. Or help make the problem from, spreading too.
If our neighbor states pass it, it would help.
So, longer version, but that's the update. I'm asking a ton of questions, and I'll definitely reach out to Pete if you give me info, so.
Anybody else?
You got a public hearing next meeting for the marijuana ordinances then?
I think it's following meeting. I think I needed 22. Oh, it's the second one then.
Next one.
Yep.
So are we gonna get the ones that, I know you handed out some, but are you gonna get the other ones before that?
No, this will be for the ones we had already talked about, and then we'll start the next ones, and then do, I got you, go around. Okay.
I think there's 3 of them on this for the 15th.
Yeah, okay. And then we'll probably end up with another one similar in September. Gotcha. Thank you. Yep. Anybody else? And then we hit deer season, and good luck.
Motion to adjourn.
Support. Motion's been made and supported to adjourn. All those in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Meeting is adjourned.
John, they make anything out there like the West Market